using a layer mask to give the illusion of your person floating, but it's possible that the layer mask technique may not work for you. So we're going to look at two things today. The first one is how to do an object select. We did it a long time ago, so let's review it. And then after we object select it, we're going to use transform and puppet warp to bend and alter the shape of your subject. In my case, it's going to be this flower. All right, so I've got a background layer, so obviously step one is always Command J. Oh, how interesting. It did something I didn't want it to do. All right, so I haven't object selected yet. I'm going to Command J so I have an absolute copy. That way my background is always protected. Now, object select tool, fourth one down, you want the one with the square. And I'm just going to click and drag a rectangle around my sunflower. And it got almost all of it. You can see it's missing parts of the leaf down here, and it cut off some stuff up here. So I'm going to make corrections by switching to quick select, and I'm going to go to quick select minus first and get rid of the grass in the background up here and this grass right here. I'm just painting over it, and it'll remove that from the selection. And I believe it grabbed some stuff right there too I don't want. Now I need to go down here and add to the selection. So I changed the brush to the one with the teeny tiny plus, and now I paint here. And I paint on this bottom leaf as well. And now I have the entire sunflower, and I just found one more bright spot. Okay, now I have the whole sunflower. So I can go Command J, and if I turn off the layers below, boom, pretty good selection on the sunflower. I'm going to turn layer 1 back on because what needs to happen on layer 1 is I need to now fill that in completely with grass as if the sunflower were never there. So back to object select again. Click and drag. And it gets the sunflower even better this time because the computer is learning what it is I want. And I go under, where is my fill tool? Huh, that's interesting. Oh, because I'm on the wrong layer. Okay. Click on layer 1, edit, content aware fill. Watch this. Some of you have used this before. It's pretty much magic. So everything that's been highlighted green is where the computer is saying, oh, I'm reading that data, and that's where I'm going to patch it in. And it looks like a pretty good job. If it's not doing it automatically, please look over here under sampling area options and click auto, and that will be good for today. I hit OK. So now what I have is I have a flower on its own, and then I have a background. I need to merge layer 1 copy with layer 1. So if I'm clicked on there and I hit Command E, those two go together. I need to get rid of the dotted line. So that's deselect, Command D. All right, so now you have a separated flower, and that flower can go anywhere you want it to go now inside the composition. All right, so let's say we wanted it more in the middle or something. Okay, great. And then the background, totally plain. All right, so here's the last thing I want you to do today, which is playing with the transform tool. And we're going to change or alter the shape of this flower a little bit. Because let's say you wanted to bend your subject so they looked more like they were floating or defying gravity. So to transform, edit, go down to transform, and you can see you can scale it, which is bigger, smaller, rotate, skew, distort, perspective, warp. Let's start with scale. That one's pretty familiar, bigger or smaller. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. and hit return. As long as the blue outline is there when you're using transform tool, you can't do anything else. So let's try warp this time. You'll see warp puts like a mesh or a grid, and then you can go to any intersection point and you can push and pull. So let's say I want to make this flower look more like it was bowl-like shaped. It was rounder. And then if you look out here, there's also these things called handles, and you can push and pull on those, these light blue things, and they swing out and allow you to manipulate the shape and stretch it as well. Corners, push pull. So like I said though, if I don't, until I hit return on my keyboard, I can't do anything other than warp this. So, all right, so I hit return. So I'd like you to try 2 or 3 transform tools. You can rotate this thing. Turn. The last thing I'd like for you to do is use Puppet Warp. So again, we're going to go under Edit. Puppet Warp is right above Transform, and it works by putting a mesh over your subject. So let me turn off these other kids back here. And then you put pins in things. So you say, like, these are the points that I don't want to move, but everything else out here I can click and drag and stretch and push pull while the inside shape stays pretty much put. It's going to distort a little bit because I'm really pulling on this pretty dramatically. But you can see you can bend this thing as much as you want. So if this were a person, we could make a person bend their arm in a different direction or kick their knee up in a different direction. So that's how Puppet Warp works. And then again, hit return. So we have really distorted and stretched and moved this flower. Let me see, Command J. See what happens if I have a second one and if I could twist it. Things to play with. But anyway, I wanted you guys to see how to distort your subject and also how to isolate your subject so it's on its own layer. All right, so please try that today. That is your job.